Alright everybody, welcome to episode 237 of Psykos Platters. I think we're going to call this one VCLT and signed stuff. Yes. We're hopefully everybody had fun with the miscellaneous episode that I did last week. I got some interesting things I want to show you. Like I said, I'll try to make this kind of brief, but I'm not promising. So, I got some very nice VCLT in person from one of my YouTube subscribers, Donna Jo Cat Lady. She's also a friend of mine, too. And I'm very grateful to have her as a friend of mine in my musical world. So, I'll show you what she gave me. She also seems to be having little problems with her turntable too, which hopefully, from what I'm gathering on it, it simply, I think, is she just needs a belt replaced on the belt drive. It's an 80s model. So, okay, so what did she give me, you ask? She gave me a couple albums, some very cool ones. Righteous Brothers' Greatest Hits. Yes, Righteous Brothers' Greatest Hits, front and back. And, in the original sleeve, for that matter, the nice Verve sleeve. Yes, I like it, and it's in pretty beautiful shape. I'm not gonna lie, very nice. I'm glad to have this in my collection. This is actually a cleaner copy than even what my signed bill medley is, so I'm very grateful for that. I'm probably going to switch the album out in with the other one, which would be awesome. So, Righteous Brothers' Greatest Hits. If I remember correctly, I want to say 1960, 66, 67, if I remember right on that. Sorry, guys, I didn't do no research today. I had no time. This one here, let's see. This one here, it's got some scratches on it, but I bet you it'll still play real nicely. On Imperial, Fats Domino sings million sellers on his million record hits. That's what the Imperial record label looks like. I am a big Fats Domino fan, but I actually don't have this in my collection, so I'm very happy to have this added to my Fats. I got a lot of different Imperial and some ABC Paramount, so I'm very happy to have that. The last one here on the VCLT, actually it kind of reminded me of a personal memory. Your Twist Party by the King of Twist, Chubby Checker on Parkway, 62 if I remember correctly. 62, 63 roughly. Front, back, of course. Chubby Checker was basically, the name came from sort of as an answer to Fats Domino. If I remember correctly, I think Dick Clark's wife is the one that came up with the nickname on this, on beautiful condition Parkway, pretty much. There's only like one or two scratches on this thing. Really nice. So I'm very grateful to Donna Jo Cat Lady for giving me VCLT. So, that wonderful stuff there, thanks to her. Hey, like I said before, if anybody wants to try to do some VCLT with me, I try to check my email twice a week. I'm pretty busy as of late. All in lowercase, Psycho, P-S-Y-K-O _DJ at yahoo.com. Send me an email there, and we can go from there. I really would be very grateful. I know Trish Mullins, I know she likes watching the show. She's sending me one of her new mix CDs. I always love the mix CDs. So, signed stuff. Let's talk about this for a minute. Two different people we're going to talk about. The first one was an in-person meet and greet. The other one was through the mail. And so, this past Friday, okay, this is being filmed on Friday night, but it's probably not going to get dropped until Saturday. But last Friday, Meteor Guitar Gallery in Bentonville, Arkansas. Really cool venue, honestly, really cool venue. It can hold about 300, 350 people at the most. And they were having former member of the Grassroots / star from The Office TV show, Creed Bratton. That's right, Creed Bratton. I've watched The Office all 9 seasons. I love that show. And Creed got some of the coolest little lines in that show. I'm not going to lie. Made me laugh almost every time. I'm like, oh my God. And he was a member of the Grassroots from 1967 to 1969. So he is on, if I remember correctly, the first 3 records. If I'm right on that. He was on the re-recorded versions. I'm saying that because the Grassroots discography is real strange, but there's second or third versions of Let's Live for Today and Where Were You When I Needed You. There's 3 versions of Where Were You When I Needed You. The Grassroots, of course, were originally a studio band constructed by P.F. Sloan and Steve Barry, who did some excellent writing in the mid-60s, without a doubt. But when they found out that the song actually was doing pretty decent, they got a second version of the group. That second version was a band called the Bedouins, I hope I got that right, with a lead singer, Willie Fulton. Willie Fulton would end up going to be a member of Tower of Power. I don't remember if he was an original member, but I know he was in the band Tower of Power. Well, due to certain things that didn't go right, most of the band got kicked out, per se. Joel Larson was a drummer on that recording. He would end up joining the third version of the Grassroots in '71 and be there through most of the '70s. So that's kind of cool. But what I'm getting at is that so the third version of Grassroots, I know this gets a little confusing. The third version of the Grassroots, which included Creed Bratton, and it was originally from a band called the 13th Floor. No, not the 13th Floor Elevators, but the 13th Floor. I'm ahead of myself here a second, I'm sorry. Between the Bedouins and the 13th Floor, the Wisconsin band The Robs, which would end up recording for Mercury, were given the option to take the Grassroots name. The Robs said no, and that's how the 13th Floor ends up getting it. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. So Creed Bratton was in that version of the 13th Floor, which became the Grassroots, and they ended up having the re-recorded versions of the 2 songs that I said, along with Midnight Confessions. I think Bella Linda was another song too that they did in that lineup. So the show was really, really cool, by the way. I ended up taking a handful of pictures, and I got 2 clips that I may or may not put on the channel. I want to test waters on this. I might put one of them up and see what happens. But there was a acoustic duo named Rosenbridge. They're local, out of northwest Arkansas. Acoustic electrified guitar and an electric cello. Really cool stuff. Go look on YouTube. Rosenbridge, R-O-Z-E-N-B-R-I-D-G-E. I think you'll get a kick out of them. They do an excellent cover of Pink Floyd's Breathe. Very haunting. I got to see that live. So then after Rosenbridge came on, there was a very cool comic named Raj Suresh. That was his name. He just got done doing an album earlier this year called Semi-Famous, which made it to #2 on the iTunes comedy charts, I guess. Very nice guy. I got to talk to him after the show, too. Creed put on a fantastic show. If you have a chance and Creed Bratton comes anywhere near you, go take the time and watch. You will get a kick out of it. I think he was on for about 60, 75 minutes roughly. Okay? And so I asked before I got in there, because I brought vinyl, I said, was Creed going to do a meet and greet? And the people at the venue went up and said, well, there's a 50-50 chance, considering that he did 2 years ago when he did one. So I'm like, okay, fine. It was first come, first serve on the seating. We got tickets in advance. We ended up in front row. Very awesome. After, he played a couple Grassroots tunes, including Live for Today, Where Were You When I Needed You, and I think one other one too. He has 7 solo albums out, by the way. The newest one is called While Young Punks Dance. That's what it's called. He played a couple good ones off of that, and I'm like, wow, he's got it. He's got the musicality chops. He was laid back. Very cool. And after the show was over with, he peppered, you know, little bits of jokes about The Office and things like that. And I even had a little bit of audience interplay. And I got to shake his hand afterwards as he was getting ready to leave off the stage. So then we waited around, me and my friend. And, you know, there were like, other people were getting back there. I'm like, Now, my friend Donna, that's the one who went with me. That's the first time she's ever been to a concert with me, so she didn't know how I do things. I go off and I try to be patient for a while, but I also know the good old trick of if you hang around security at the back of the venue or wherever you're going to be at, usually the security guard twice will go off and at least say, they're not here, they already left the building. Bullshit. Even I have known probably about, I'd say, 80% of the time that's bullshit because they're trying to thin out the crowd, you see. And usually by the third time that they go off and say, you know, there's nobody here, right after that's when the hell the person comes out. Seriously, most of the time that's exactly how it worked. So I'm like, okay, fine. Well, then they shut the lights off, and there was a handful of us still waiting. There was only like 5 or 6 of us waiting for autographs. So, oh, by the way, always powered by coffee, each and every time. So, so the thing is I'm like, okay, fine. We get the hint, you know, but I know he was in the building still. Because people were coming back and forth with different signed stuff. And I'm going, okay. I said, fine. I know what's going on here. So they shut the lights mostly off. We go out. She has a smoke with somebody else that was waiting for an autograph. And I'm like, you know what? I said, go have a smoke. I said, I'm going to take a little walk. A.K.A. recon. Because Paul's not a stupid fool. I may be old, but I'm not dumb. So I went off and I tried to figure out the back venue of this joint. After about a couple minutes of looking around, I figured it out. I knew where they were at. Not only did I know where they were at, I found out that there was a small little parking lot where all the cars were lined up. And he went off and mentioned, of course, that he still lived in California. Surprise! There was a beautiful California license plate classic car and a minivan next to it. No problem with that. And there was a park bench right next to the parking lot. So I'm like, okay. So I turn around and I go walk back, and I told my friend, we might as well, you know, head home, blah, 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 you know, a bunch of BS, so we could weed out the people. Now, I know you're probably going, well, wait a minute, why'd you do that? And I'm like, I kind of felt a little uncomfortable with the other people. There was some people I would have said, hey, let's go, but there was a little uncomfortability with this guy. And so I'm like, okay. So I explained the situation. Lo and behold, the opening band shows up right at the van, which is one of those 4 cars. I'm like, ha, my theory proved correct. We end up getting business cards, talked to them. They're going to do a new album this year, too, their first one. And so they were talking about that. Then we're like, okay, fine. So then we go, you know, I said, we're sitting at the park bench, and I said, hey, go take a look at the license plate of the classic car. As soon as she saw it was from California, she went, that was her look. 2 minutes go by. Guess what? Here Creed Bratton coming out from the back door along with about 3 or 4 other people. I waited till, you know, he got around the corner, and I said, Mr. Bratton, I said, may I get some autographs? And he said, sure, let me put my stuff down. So, he was a very nice guy. On my Facebook page, I'm not very comfortable with selfies. I got to admit, I kind of hate them. But because we couldn't get my camera to work to do a decent picture, I got a selfie of me and Creed. I thought that was pretty awesome. Along with 2 signed albums that I got. Grassroots 16 Greatest Hits. Yes, I know he's not pictured on the cover, and he said that himself as well. But like there's like 4 or 5 songs on here that he played on, and that's why he signed that one. He just signed that one, Creed, is what he did. I don't know if you can see that. But then I managed to go to Block Street Records down in Fayetteville, yes, and picked up a copy of one of the 3 albums he's on, Loving Things, and that's Creed from 1968. This is also him in the back, but he writes, to Paul, Creed Bratton. I was very happy, you know, to have that and get to meet him and all that. Very awesome stuff. So that was my in-person, okay? I got to shake his hand, too, and everybody went off on their merry way. I gave Donna a spare album I had. She got an album too. So, to save a little bit on time, here's the next story. The next story is, I've got an envelope. Now, the envelope here, I'm trying to cover the address on this, self-addressed stamped. Because when you go off to mail things, that's what you do. Now, saying that, I will give you the story on this one. I kind of felt stupid. This incident goes back to 3 months ago, okay? Early March. I found out that Reeves Gabriel's was coming to Eureka Springs, which is about a 45-minute drive from here, okay? Reeves Gabriel's, if that name sounds familiar to you, good. If not, let me give you a quick mini history. He ended up in David Bowie's world in the late 80s. In fact, if I remember correctly, he ended up meeting David Bowie shortly after the Don't Bring Me Down tour for the album in '87 with Peter Frampton, as to not be confused with the song Don't Bring Me Down from ELO, which goes, don't bring me down, Bruce! Yeah, alright, whatever. So, Reeves ends up meeting Bowie after that tour, because I guess Peter Frampton, you know, and his association with Bowie was brief. So Reeves ends up befriending Bowie, and the next thing you know, they go off and they form Tin Machine. And I don't know if that name sounds familiar to you. They cut 3 albums. The first one was the one I remember with Under the God. That one was an excellent tune, and I remember seeing that on MTV and being played on the radio, actually. If I remember correctly, I think it was in 90. 90, I want to say, for that one. And then he ended up guitaring for Bowie on 2 albums. And then after that, for some reason, I want to say it was the mid-2000s, he goes off and, you know, he also has a solo career too. He's got CDs out. But he also has been a guitarist for The Cure since 2012, live only, it appears. So, I was getting ready to go to this show, and, well, I'm not going to lie to you. My grandson, who just unexpectedly got born, he was born a preemie. He barely squeaked into the 7th month. And I'm sitting here, it was touch and go with him. And that, I decided, truthfully, was more important than attending a concert at that time. That's just how it is. And I got it. So I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to Reeves at the venue, and I explained myself. But I also sent some CD sleeves, and I even requested a pick, because I'm a guitar pick collector, as you guys know from my other episodes. So to save time, I cut it open. I'm going to show you what I got, okay? Very, very nice. To Paul Reeves, yes. And this is the one I sent from the Earthling album, David Bowie, to Paul Reeves as well. And I put some cardboard backing in this too. I'm really happy with these, honestly. Hang on a minute. A note. Yes, there's a note. Hang on a minute. Oh boy. Okay. Paul, here you go. Signed CD booklets and some new and used guitar picks that I signed. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Reeves. Very nice. I'll show you a couple of these. This is, where is it? There we go. He signed that. It looks like he, 3 of them. And then there's also this too. Tim Allen. Tim Allen, if you're watching this video, would you like one of them? I know some of you people are going off and going, wait a minute. Well, there's a reason. I didn't know I was going to get that. That's cool. I'm very thankful. Because I owe Tim Allen due to the contest. I screwed up, remember? He wrote to me, and I don't know if he would be into that or not. Maybe I could send him a signed pic. I'll probably, because I don't even know if I can message him anymore. I'll probably just drop a message. Yeah, that sounds right. So probably I shouldn't have blurted that out, but I at least owe Tim something because of the snafu that I caused. It's my fault, so what I'm getting at, though, is this. Like I said, I'm normally not a patient person. That's one of my faults. But I dropped a message through Messenger, like, about, you know, after contacting the venue, and they said that they did give it to him. So I'm like, okay. He was very nice. His wife was very nice. And he just came back from England. And I guess he's one of these musicians that, you know, he takes everything along with him and then takes care of it all at once. I know musicians like that. And so I felt very grateful. I am very grateful for this. So what I'm getting at is if you know that there's a musician coming and you don't think you're going to be able to go, take a stab at it. I'm not going to lie, this is not the first mailing I've done. I've mailed out autograph, you know, albums and CD sleeves and stuff like that. Nine times out of 10 I get them back. There's been 2 exceptions. Tom Schultz from Boston, I even sent a small donation for his thing at charity, whatever it was. Never got it back. That figures. And Paul Revere, the late Paul Revere, which I don't know. I'm not going to say anything bad because I don't know. I don't know what happened. I sent it to Branson, Missouri. So, but other than that, most of the time I got my stuff back signed and beautiful and mostly timely. So I was very glad to get those. So what I'm saying is that take a stab, always ask. That's another thing too, because like I said, you know, I got the added pics, and I thank Reeves, and I thank Creed Bratton, and I thank you audience here. I know I went on too long here today, so no commercials today. You guys take care. God bless. Rock on. I'll see you next time. I'm probably going to be doing an LP episode. So have a good one, guys. Take care.